Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got breaking news, fellas. We got breaking news. James Harden has been traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, listen. We got to break this down because this right here wasn't just James Harden going to the Brooklyn Nets. This right here was a 4-team trade. 4 teams involved. You got players moving everywhere. And this really, truly has shaken up the landscape of the NBA, the Eastern Conference, Western Conference. This is a major move. We're going to get into this, man. Let me know if you're in the chat right now, if you can hear me. Put a 1 up if you can hear me. Let me know my audio is good. Because we gotta break this down. I had to do an impromptu live session because to hear that James Harden, the bearded one, is now on the East Coast, joined up with his old OKC buddy and Kevin Durant, and then we got to talk about Kyrie Irving. We got to talk about, man, listen, Karis LeVert is out of Brooklyn. We've got people moving everywhere, so we're gonna break this thing down from the top to bottom and figure out who benefited, and then you got to ask this question: now that James Harden's in Brooklyn, are they the team to beat? We got to dive into this. So let me know. Everybody can hear me in the chat. All right, here we go. We're going to jump right into this thing, man. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I'm ecstatic. I'm absolutely ecstatic because this right here is what the NBA needed. This right here is, in my opinion, why the NBA is the best sports league out there. You got big-time superstars that move all the time. Every single season is a big star moving somewhere else. Now that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are in Brooklyn, they revitalized the whole New York basketball scene. But now they got help on the way because they was a little rocky over there to start. But now that they got the bearded one, you've got one of the most dynamic trios the NBA has ever seen, specifically on the offensive end. But the question is, it's one basketball. How do these three fit together? Do they fit together? So first, before we get into this, let's run down what actually happened. We got James Harden going to the Nets. We got the Rockets getting Victor Oladipo. They also picked up Dante Exum. 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 first-round picks. And they got 4 pick swaps. The Houston Rockets got one of those old Sam Presti trades where they just load up on draft picks, and they got some quality talent. We talk about Victor Oladipo coming back to pair up with John Wall in that Houston Rockets backcourt. Listen, the Rockets got abused last night to the Lakers. And it was rumors that James Harden was not happy. DeMarcus Cousins came out saying he was disrespectful. James Harden basically at the press conference said, I want out. He basically alluded to the fact that they couldn't beat the Lakers as currently constructed. You got to remember, they got demolished in the playoffs in 5 games. And coming back, the last 2 games they played against the Lakers, they lost. And he realized, we're not going to beat them. I want out. And he finally got to his destination he wanted, which was the Brooklyn Nets. So now, not only did the Houston Rockets get a nice haul, the Indiana Pacers were involved in this. Because remember, it's a 4-team trade. The Indiana Pacers wound up getting Karis LeVert. Now, I don't know about you. If you know about LeVert, if you like LeVert, I love this pickup for Indiana. Getting somebody who's healthy, who's young. That was the question about Victor Oladipo, was his health factor. But now, you get Karis LeVert. He showed in the bubble, he's a bucket. He's an absolute, now he's not as good of a defender as Oladipo is. But I like this move. And they picked up a 2nd-round pick. Then you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Because the Cavaliers picked up Jarrett Allen and they picked up Taurean Prince. But here's what's got me thinking. If they've got JaVale McGee that they just signed, and they have Andre Drummond, who's the best rebounder in the game, and then you bring in Jarrett Allen, that's 3 centers. Is somebody on the move? Watch out for Andre Drummond potentially being on the move, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to have 3 centers when you could get the high impact, a high return for Andre Drummond. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on the move. And if I'm Danny Ainge, or if I'm somebody who needs a legitimate big man, I get on the phone. I would go get Andre Drummond. So, but before we get too far with that, let's swing all the way back around, because the Brooklyn Nets are here, man. When you pick up James Harden, this is what their lineup looks like right now. This is one of there's some pros to this and there's some cons. So I want to break down the pros first. You're getting one of the greatest scorers the game's seen. He's one of the craftiest players the game has ever seen. You're pairing James Harden in his prime with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. from an offensive standpoint, this rivals the Golden State Warriors that we saw with Curry, Klay Thompson. This rivals that from an offensive standpoint. They're going to put up 120, 130 points almost every other night. This is Showtime basketball. The question I have, though, is who takes the last shot? Who's the go-to guy? We know Durant, in my opinion, is Durant. But does Harden know that? Does Kyrie know that? And the first question, where is Kyrie Irving? Can anybody tell me where Kyrie Irving is? Listen, somebody needs to get on the back phone and call up Kyrie Irving and tell him he's got an NBA contract he needs to play. Now, there were some rumblings in the offseason that Kyrie Irving wasn't necessarily too happy about the idea that was floating around about pairing James Harden with them. He also hasn't been supposedly happy with Steve Nash as the coach. Remember, everybody remembers the comments he made in the offseason about, we don't have a coach, we don't need a coach, whatever the case may be. I don't know what's going on. And some people call Kyrie Irving a social activist, which I get. He's very involved in the community. Some people say he's a mental case. I'm not here to discuss that. We already talked about Kyrie in the last video. What I will say is he's got to come back and play. And if you put the ball in Kyrie Irving's hands at the point guard, you got James Harden at the 2, they still got Joe Harris at the 3, you put Durant at the 4, and now you got DeAndre Jordan at the 5. But here's some of the issues I have with this. DeAndre Jordan had basically been benched for Jared Allen because Jared Allen was the better center of those two at this point in their career. Now that you take Jared Allen out, DeAndre's back in the starting lineup, who's the backup center? Who's the backup big man? Think about this. One of my biggest issues with the Brooklyn Nets prior to this trade was their defense. Well, you didn't get better giving up Paris LeVert for James Harden. You actually got worse on the defensive end. Then you also got worse because you let Taurean Prince go, who's one of the better perimeter defenders on the wing, maybe their best perimeter defender on the wing, and you give up Jared Allen, who's possibly your best interior defender. Listen, they're sacrificing defense for a major upgrade in offense. They're going to have to outscore teams. That has to be their strategy because there's basically not many players who are going to be trying out there and get stops. Now, I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the trade, if you like the James Harden to Brooklyn Nets trade, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't like the trade, put a 2, or put a yes if you like it, a no if you don't. How about that? Yes if you like the trade, put a no if you don't like the trade. Let me know. And while we're doing that, make sure we get the likes up. Let's hit the like button, share this, let's get this out on social media. This right here is mind-blowing to me. This right here was such a game changer because for me, I've said all along, I had the Philadelphia 76ers coming out the East. That was my pick because I did not like this Brooklyn Nets roster. The question is, and we're getting, Swiss says no, Eamon says no, Noah says no, Troy says yes. We had a couple ones, Praveen says 1, so yes. So it's kind of split right now, yes. Tapsha says, I don't really know. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you, this is, you're going to have a lot of split on this one. I mean, I'm still, when I wrap my head around it, I like the move. I do like the move because it adds so much curiosity to this Nets team. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, they were not playing well. Now, granted, Kyrie wasn't there. There was some times they were there. We saw them when Durant and Irving were playing, and they lost to the Wizards. So they were kind of up and down. But the chemistry didn't seem to be right. The personnel, the roster construction definitely wasn't right. So I wasn't necessarily. I wasn't high on them. Like I said, I didn't even have them making the NBA Finals. And to be honest with you, I didn't have them making the Eastern Conference Finals if you go back and check my tape. That may have just changed, though. Not maybe. That has changed. You can't have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant and not make the Conference Finals. That can't happen. This team's going to the Conference Finals. The question is, who does this hurt the most? This right here, I think this could be a big shot to a team like Milwaukee. They may just be in trouble because Milwaukee had a legitimate 3 with Giannis, Middleton, and Jrue Holiday. This 3 right here, man, this is the best trio in the Eastern Conference. It just is. I don't think they're done, though. They can't rest on their laurels. This can't be the last move that they make. They need a backup center, and they need some wing defenders. They've got to make another move. Spencer Dinwiddie's likely out for the season. I don't know how they're going to do this. Maybe they decide to shop Kyrie Irving. That may be the better option. What they need to do is get Kyrie Irving out of there. I don't necessarily think they need to keep all three. If Brooklyn is smart enough, I would take Kyrie Irving, get rid of him, and potentially bring in someone else that can help me on that wing, and potentially bringing in a guy who can stretch the floor on offense at that 5 position. DeAndre Jordan can't do that. He's not the DeAndre Jordan he was with the Clippers. So I think they need to upgrade at center, and they need to upgrade on the wing perimeter defense. Torstar says probably sign Lou Williams. I don't know. I mean, Lou Williams is with the Clippers, so he's under contract. So they would have to trade, and I don't see the Clippers making a trade for Kyrie Irving. I don't necessarily know about that one. Tapster says we got Bucks and Nets in the Eastern Conference. Let's see. Swiss says Nets should have already been the favorite in the East. 76. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. They shouldn't have been the favorite. Swiss. I disagree with you. Their roster didn't. My preseason prediction was that they would finish as the 2nd seed, but not make the conference final. I felt that the Philadelphia 76ers were going to be better than them and put them out in the 2nd round in that 3-2 matchup. You see how the 76ers have been playing, man. They got the best record in the Eastern Conference. 76ers are legit. And the 76ers, I'm going to put it like two. Here's the question I posed in this. I said, are the Brooklyn Nets, are they the favorites now? Are they the team to beat? And I'm here to tell you, absolutely not. As big of a move as this is, as ground shaking as this is, they're not the team to beat in the NBA because they're not even the team to beat in the Eastern Conference still. They have more work to do. I don't know if Kyrie just doesn't want to play anymore. Maybe he wants to be a social activist. Maybe he wants to, I don't know what he wants to be. But if basketball's not for you, I respect it. You've got generational wealth. Take it. Do what you need to do. If you want to play, come back and play. If not, best of luck to you. But if he wants to keep playing, I think the best thing for Brooklyn to do is to move him. You've got Harden now, who can be a 1/2. He's had the ball in his hands so much. I think him and Kevin Durant can work together off each other very well. That's enough scoring power. Now you've got to load up on defenders. You've got to get some better defenders in there. You got Joe Harris who can space the floor. But man, listen, I'm not liking this Brooklyn Nets squad to make the finals. This team, as currently constructed, will not come out the East. It just won't. Do you remember this? You gotta remember this, guys. I know this is an offensive NBA that we live in. Defense still wins championships. Remember that. Defense wins championships. Offense sells tickets. They're going to sell, you can't sell tickets now because of this whole situation that's going on. But man, listen, it's going to be entertaining. Everybody's going to love to see this thing. It's not going to win a championship. To me, the Lakers are still the team to beat. You see it. The reigning champs are still the team to beat. They're steamrolling the West right now, and they haven't even hit playoff mode yet. The Lakers are still the team to beat, but Brooklyn just got a lot closer. I will say that. James Harden's chances of winning a championship have now increased. In Houston, he had no chance. Now he's got some chance. It's still not enough, though. Let me know. Let me know in the comment section, do you think the Nets need to trade Kyrie Irving now that they have Harden, or keep all three together? Let me know in the comment section. Would you trade Irving, or would you let these three play it out and see how they do and wait till the deadline? Me, Troy says yes, trade Kyrie. I mean, Will Kim says Kawhi got to come to the Lakers. Make sure to fall. No, Kawhi doesn't. Kawhi missed his chance to come to the Lakers. You want to go to the basement and play with the Clippers? That's where you stay, Kawhi. Swiss says they can't trade Kyrie unless KD signs off. I would agree with you, Swiss. But I think you got to go to KD and say, KD, we want to win. You want to win a championship. You're not going to set up anything less. What do you think is going to give us the best opportunity to win? With Kyrie, now that you have a legitimate number 2 in Harden, or without him? And I think if KD understands, after winning that championship with Golden State, he has to understand defense wins championships. Because surrounding Kevin Durant, he had defenders all around him. Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. He had legitimate defenders around him. He doesn't have that now. 2 of their best defenders are gone. You just gave away Taurean Prince and Jared Allen. Those are 2 of your best defenders. They need another move, man. Kevin M says Kyrie for Kyle Lowry. Ooh, I like that actually. I love that idea, Kevin. That's a great trade idea. Kyrie Irving for Kyle Lowry. Toronto needs a superstar. They need a guy who can be the #1 option on the team. Siakam's not it. I like that because Lowry could fit and could play off of a James Harden. He's a better defender than Kyrie Irving, so he would bring some defense as well. He brings some leadership over there. I actually like that. I like that. That's a great trade idea. Caden Williams says trade Kyrie for defense at the deadline if things don't work out. I can understand that. The only issue with that, though, Caden, is that if they wait that long, when you do make that trade, you're giving your team less time and less opportunity to get into a rhythm prior to the playoffs starting. You want as much time as possible because the other teams like the Milwaukees, the Phillies, the Lakers, these teams have much more time together. Their chemistry's rolling, so you want to get as much time as possible. Alexandra says most offensive talented team in NBA history. I'm not going to go there yet because Golden State to me is the best offensive team we've seen, and their pieces fit together. Curry was unselfish, but he could shoot from anywhere on the floor. Klay Thompson didn't need to have the ball in his hands, dribbling and dancing to be effective. He was just catch and shoot. Then you had Kevin Durant who could play on the box, mid-post, out to the three, could do it all. And then you even had Draymond Green, who was a secondary playmaker, facilitator, who could play inside or outside. Their pieces just fit together so perfectly. Even Andre Iguodala coming off the bench. So I still think Golden State's offense is the greatest offense of all time. But this Nets trio, along with a guy like Joe Harris, this team could potentially surpass that. But the reason I don't think it will is because to be efficient on offense, you got to get stops on defense to get out of transition, to make your offense as effective as it can be. And I don't think they have the defense to do that. So I think the offense is going to suffer some in comparison to Golden State. Let's see. We've got Risky says Westbrook for Kyrie, already heavy rumors. Russell Westbrook for Kyrie. I don't like that, man. I don't like that. I'm gonna tell you, and I understand trying to get the band back together. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant. I understand that concept. The reason I don't like that, and Russell Westbrook is one of my favorite players in the game, but at this stage of their careers, I don't like that. I don't like that trio. Russ and KD back together. I'm definitely not feeling that. So I don't like that one necessarily. Kevin M says Toronto needs a shakeup. I agree with you. They definitely need a shakeup. New Man says, got a feeling they're going to try to go to get George Hill in some package. George Hill, it would be a solid addition. Because see, if you can get George Hill and some defenders, right? Some wing defenders, another big man. Like that's the kind of moves they need to make. They don't need to take Kyrie Irving and get a superstar or another high level or elite level player. They don't necessarily need that. When you got James Harden, Kevin Durant, you've got the offensive firepower you need. It's similar to LeBron James and Anthony Davis for the Lakers. You got two bona fide superstars, megastars, and then the rest of your guys don't have to be stars. Look at the championship last year. You had Kyle Kuzma as your third scoring option in the regular season. KCP was your third scoring option in the playoffs. You don't need to have a big star. You need people that can fit around your two stars. And that's what I think they need to do with Kyrie Irving is move him. Let's see. Dr. Philly Willie says P.J. Tucker's probably going to be in the move soon. P.J. Tucker would be a great addition for the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, I think Brooklyn should try to figure out how. There was a 14 deal. Very rarely do you see 14 deals go down. I would have loved to see them try to figure out a way to get P.J. Tucker included in that trade if they're going to want to move him. That's a good name. Let's see. Risky Production says trade for Troy Brown Jr. sign Nene. I'm not feeling Nene, man. I'm not feeling Nene. No, Will Kim, we're not saying Kyrie for P.J. Tucker. No. What we're saying is if you're going to get somebody like a P.J. Tucker, first of all, trading Kyrie to Houston doesn't make any sense. That doesn't, because you got John Wall. So that's why when people talk about the Harden for Kyrie trade straight up, it just didn't make sense because you got John Wall there. Now they've got John Wall and Victor Oladipo. So we're not talking about trading Kyrie to Houston. What we're saying is that someone like a P.J. Tucker, if he could have been included in that package when they got James Harden. But at this point, unless they're going to trade something else, it doesn't make a realistic chance. Rain Man says, shout out to Ballaholic, shout out to great content. I appreciate that, Rain Man. Thank you. Listen, everybody, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's share this. Let's get this out to as many people as possible. Listen, man, Swiss says, I don't know if Drummond or McGee have much trade value. Detroit certainly didn't give much for Drummond. You know, Drummond to me is a guy who is he's one of the most underrated big men in the game. You can't dominate the glass the way that he does and not have value. It's not that many rebounders that come around, generationally. He's a generational rebounding talent that just gobbles up everything on the glass. There's value for that. There's value for someone who can end the possession. See, contesting a shot, making a player miss is the first part of defense. The second part is corralling the rebound, hitting the defensive glass, and getting out in transition. When you've got offensive options like Durant and a Harden, you want to get them out getting easy baskets before the defense has a chance to set up. Man, that duo between Harden and Durant is going to be super special, man. You're talking about MVP, bona fide MVP candidates that don't have any real deficiencies in their offensive game. This isn't a Russell Westbrook and James Harden. We're talking about Kevin Durant, who's proven he's back, he's healthy, he's ready to roll. I like that, man. I like it. Let's see. Amen B says, what happens to LeBron's GOAT case if he can beat this next super team? Man, listen, bro, that's a great point. Imagine this for a second. Just imagine this. Kevin Durant squads up with James Harden on one side, Kyrie Irving on the other side, and they square off in the NBA Finals against LeBron James and his Lakers team, and LeBron wins and beats Kevin Durant with the Kyrie Irving and the James Harden. That's GOAT status right there, man. That is GOAT status. For me, I've always said LeBron's got to win 2 more. He's got to win 2 more for him to be the GOAT. But if he beats this Brooklyn Nets team and they keep all 3 of them together, that's GOAT status for me. That's enough. That's enough, man. Because he would have beaten Kevin Durant, twice? They would be 2-2 in the finals, and then he would have beaten Kyrie Irving, who he was a teammate with, and beat James Harden yet again. Oh man, that would be special. And Durant and Harden, remember, he beat them back in 2012 when they were young pups. So if he can do it again, yeah, that's GOAT status there, man. What do I think of the Cavs? I think the Cavs got a nice young core going, man. I like what the Cavs are doing. Colin Sexton is balling. Darius Garland, Okoro, and they got Andre Drummond, who's been playing very well. But they added Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. This makes them better, man. The Cleveland Cavaliers actually got better. That's what I'm trying to figure out. JaVale McGee's a solid backup. Andre Drummond's a solid starting center. So where does Jared Allen fit in this? To me, Jared Allen's a starting center in the league. So that's why I'm keeping my eye on Cleveland to see, are they going to potentially trade Drummond? Because if you do, wherever he lands, if he lands on the right team, oh man, look out. Look out. That could be real scary. So I definitely love that. Raymond says he wants to wait and see how Harden does in the playoffs. I agree. I agree. Listen, they could look good. Right now, it looks good on paper. I'm not sold on this Brooklyn Nets team in the playoffs. I'm not sold, but we gotta see. Let's see. Drummond going to the Nets. You know what? I don't know if they could get Drummond though. If the Brooklyn Nets get man, listen. If they figure out a way to get Andre Drummond, they would have to give up a Kyrie Irving. I don't know, man. Troy says, who won the trade, Cleveland or Indy? Cleveland. I think Cleveland won. I like Karis LeVert. But if you're giving up Oladipo for Karis LeVert, some may say that's an even trade. Some may say that's slightly one way or the other, but that's close. And they didn't get a first round pick, they got a second round pick, Indy did. But Cleveland, they got legitimate role players and didn't have to give up much. Yeah, Cleveland won. My pick, I think Cleveland won that. Zubac to the Nets. Zubac would be a good fit for them. From a defensive standpoint, he would be good. But here's what the Nets need. Keep in mind with this, and I want everybody to stop for a second and think about this. Go back and look at all the champions in recent history. You look at the Lakers last year. You look at all the teams before, the Toronto, the Warriors. Just keep going back. Just stop. Think about this for a second. Tell me the last team that won a championship that did not have a legitimate power forward or center that was able to defend them on one side and then also stretch out to the three-point line on offense for floor spacing. You had Anthony Davis who could do that last year for the Lakers. The Raptors had Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka who could do that. The Warriors had Draymond Green who he could play the power forward. Then when they went small ball, he could slide to the 5 and still be able to defend on defense and stretch out to the three-point line on offense. Like, just think, keep going back, every team, and think about the last team that won a championship that didn't have that. That's what I think the Brooklyn Nets need. They need a big man like that. They got Durant right now playing power forward. He's not a power forward. He's a small forward who can play power forward when you go small. He starts at the power forward position. That means he's going to be matched up against guys like Giannis and Anthony Davis. That's not what you want James Harden, Kevin Durant having to do. And with this Brooklyn Nets team, if they're going up against a Clippers team or a Lakers team, who's guarding a LeBron? Who's guarding a Kawhi? You putting James Harden on him? No. You see what I'm saying? They need a wing defender, legitimate, and they need a stretched big man. I don't know, man. Go get Miles Turner. Miles Turner would be a good option. Miles Turner's a great option. This trade that they did, I like it, but I think it's incomplete. Rohan says, you were so underrated. Hey, I appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate that. Hopefully you subscribe, hit the like button, share this out. Definitely appreciate your support, bro. Will Kim says, will LeBron win MVP this year? I don't think he will. And I don't think he needs to. LeBron right now is playing 32 minutes a night. Like him and Anthony Davis, both of them minutes. Last year their minutes were down. They were playing 34 minutes a night. This year they're down to 32 minutes a night. You got Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell and Caldwell Pope and Kuzma. Lakers got 6 guys averaging double figures. They got 11 guys averaging 10 plus minutes per game. It's too much depth for LeBron to need to have to do so much to get the stats to beat MVP. I don't think he'll get it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if he doesn't. A trade, Aldridge or Kevin Love. If I've got to choose between Aldridge or Kevin Love, give me Aldridge because he's healthier. And I think he's, of those two, neither one are great defenders, but of those two, I think Aldridge is probably the better defender, even though Love's probably a better rebounder. I would rather have LaMarcus Aldridge than Kevin Love. But that's a good option. That's the kind of big man that they need that they don't have. That's what they need. What do I think about the video of Kyrie Irving partying? Listen, man, it's his sister's birthday, and I get it. This is what I'll say. Remember Alex Caruso for the Lakers last year going in the bubble, right? We're talking about in a bubble. He passed on his sister's wedding, I think it was, and didn't go to stay with the Lakers to win a championship, and he won a championship. People criticize Lou Williams for going to Magic City to get them lemon pepper wings, right? But the reality is, man, these are men. These are humans. They have lives they want to live. And if his sister's having a birthday party, I can't criticize this man for attending his sister's birthday party when the state he's in doesn't have, lockdown. I don't know if there was any laws broken. So I can't criticize that. Now, whether he should have had a mask on, whether not, I don't want to get into that. What I'll say is, if he made that decision, that's his decision. Now, there may be consequences from that decision, but he's got to live with that. And Kyrie's one of the type of people, he doesn't appear where he's not willing to take whatever consequences come with the choice that he makes, whether right or wrong. Let's see. The new man says, I love this channel, but his name is not Caruso, it's GOAT. Listen, the Caruso show isn't the GOAT, man. I feel you, man. You love it. I love it. Harden running from Brandon Kingram. I feel you. Do you think Kyrie was holding out for the Nets to go get Harden? That's a good question, Gums. That's a very good question. I don't know if he was necessarily holding out for them to get Harden, but I honestly, man, I don't know what's going on with Kyrie. I don't know if there's the Nets don't know what's going on with Kyrie. Kyrie was kind of distant from them, not returning calls or emails or whatever. I don't think anybody knows what's going on with Kyrie except Kyrie. And I don't want to come down too hard on him because we don't really know what he's going through, whatever it may be. But he doesn't seem interested in playing basketball right now. Now, we got to see, is he going to be rejuvenated now that they're shaking this thing up? But if he doesn't come back soon and get back into the swing of things, I can get him up out of there, man. And I'm a Kyrie fan. but somebody says Blake Griffin isn't that healthy. He is injury prone. But see, Blake Griffin, you could put him at the power forward where he could then be able to stretch out the defense and allow Kevin Durant to play the small forward. Imagine if the Nets do get to the finals. If they're going up against the Lakers, you don't want Kevin Durant having to guard Anthony Davis down in that box, having to be physical with him, and then also having to be guarded by Anthony Davis on the other end, with that length making it tough on him. I don't know. I don't know the answer, the solution to this, but I know that the roster that the Nets have right now is not going to get it done. Let's take a couple more questions before we wrap this thing up. Hit those like button, hit that like, let's get the likes up. Let's see. The Nets need Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant would have been a really good option. He would have been a really good option. I think in Detroit right now, he's paid and he's playing well, but I think that would have been a really good option. Yeah, Will Kim, I think he's been wonderful. Could a buyout come? You could potentially see a buyout, but until that happens, right now he's excelling with Detroit in his role, and hey, he got paid, man. Probably says, what do the Raptors need to do to stop this slump? They need to make a trade. They need to make a trade, and I'm not gonna say it needs to be Siakam that gets out of there, but it's on the table. They need a legitimate, bona fide star. Let me rephrase that. They need a superstar. Kyle Lowry, Siakam are all-star level guys. They need a superstar level guy. They don't have that. And they are reeling right now. But we touched on them enough. Do I think Beal gets traded? Great question. Do I think Bradley Beal gets traded? I've been calling for Bradley Beal to be traded for years now, man. And it's unfortunate that he's as talented as he is and he's just not excelling right there. I would love to see Bradley Beal go to the Denver Nuggets. I would love to see him go over there and pair with Jokic. I want Bradley Beal in the playoff playing quality basketball, quality time, in the big moments. The talent is there and he's in his prime. I want to see him excel. But Washington just isn't getting it done. And I'm in the DMV area, but Washington is not getting it done with the team around him. And I thought Russ adding him was going to help. I thought they were going to be able to be a playoff team. And it's still early in the season. They may be able to. I just don't like where I'm seeing this Wizards team. So I think they need to be, Bill should be traded. But the chances are he probably won't because he's good in the community. The Wizards love him. So the chances are he probably won't be traded. But I think he should be traded. Are the Cavs better after participating in this 4-team trade? Dr. Philly, absolutely. Absolutely. Cavs got better. They added legitimate defenders. They're role players. They're just role players. But they added defenders. Jared Allen wasn't necessarily a necessity to where they added because they have JaVale McGee as a backup center. You got Andre Drummond, so he wasn't a necessity, but he's a good addition. Adding Taurean Prince, another wing defender, I think was excellent. Taurean Prince he's not an elite defender by any stretch of the imagination. But he's just another piece that is going to compete on the defensive end. And when you add Taurean Prince and a Jared Allen, if you do decide to give up Andre Drummond, you've still got two legitimate defensive centers in JaVale McGee and Jared Allen. And now whatever pieces you get back for Andre Drummond can fit around the young backcourt with Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. I like it, man. I like it. Let's take a couple more questions. How do you think Houston will the rest of the year? Houston... That's a great question. Right now, I think they're 3-6. They're like second to last. They're at the bottom of the West right now. I think this is going to be addition by subtraction. I think especially when I heard DeMarcus Cousins' comments about, how disrespectful James Harden may have been prior to actually going to the podium and speaking. I think that losing the talent of James Harden it's not going to be as big as gaining the chemistry around three guys who've been trying to resurrect their careers from injuries when you talk about John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and now adding in a Victor Oladipo. Those three guys all want to prove they're healthy, that they're still good, that they can play. If they stay healthy, with Christian Wood over there, with the tough guys like PJ Tucker, you still got Eric Gordon, I think Houston can make the playoffs. Houston was going to be a 5th seed for me. I had them as a 5th seed. Now I did say this. I do have to stand on what I believed from the beginning. I said if Harden stayed, they would have been a 5th seed. Then I said if Harden leaves, they wouldn't make the playoffs. I'm gonna go back on that now because I didn't think the chemistry issues would be as bad as they were. Now that Harden is gone, I think the team actually has a better chance of making the playoffs than if they kept James Harden. The talent has decreased, but John Wall has shown he's healthy. He looks like he may be ready to lead this team. Christian Wood is showing he's solid, man. Christian Wood is solid. They're bringing DeMarcus Cousins off the bench. I would love to see DeMarcus Cousins and Christian Wood play together as a 4-5 combo, right? Instead of the small ball Christian Wood at the 5. Well, really, he's really a power forward. I would like to see Christian Wood at the 4, DeMarcus Cousins at that starting 5 position with Victor Oladipo and John Wall, and then put PJ Tucker at the 3 because remember, PJ Tucker's a legitimate 3-and-D guy who can guard wings. He can guard the Kawhi Leonards, the LeBron James. I would put him at that 3 position, put Christian Wood at that 4, so he's matching up against an Anthony Davis, put DeMarcus Cousins at that 5, so he's matching up against a Marc Gasol, and let Oladipo and John Wall, who are both really legit good defenders, let them cause havoc in the backcourt. I like this Houston team. I think if you put Eric Gordon as that 6th man, I think this team's Houston's gonna make the playoffs. Watch what I tell you. Houston will make the playoffs. My man says Timberwolves winning it all. Yeah, okay, they're gonna win the lottery. They may win the lottery. That's about all they're gonna win. Sanjay, yes, as I just said, I do think the Rockets will make the playoffs. So listen, I think we're gonna wrap it up right there. Listen, I had to just do an impromptu live, man, because this right here was just groundbreaking news. Let me know if you think you like this trade. I like it. Even though I don't think the Nets are going to win the championship, it's not going to happen this year. And I still don't even think they're going to make the finals. But I think they got better offensively. Defensively, they got drastically worse. So we got to see. Their team is incomplete right now. So right now, I still think they're going to be still a top 3 seed. The offensive talent is going to, they're about to just run guys out the gym. It's not many teams that can keep up with them offensively. It's going to be you're going to see some 140, 145, 150 point games. You're going to see some high scoring games, but that's their method right now. They've got to just outscore teams, and they got the great coaching staff to do that. We talk about Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni. That's all they want to do is run people out the gym. So now James Harden is back with Mike D'Antoni, even though he's the assistant coach. So I listen, this is going to definitely be a show. Look, hey man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much. Until next time, General Hannibal X, I'm out. Peace.